Boston Bros is number one thing not. You're dead wrong. You can catch me doing misbehaving with my products on. It's real boxing talk every time we meet with Ned, the TBE, and Conspiracy G. We bring it to you raw, unbiased. You know the deal. You can even get a poor dealer here from Dollar Bill with my guys by my side. You know we going live. All we need you to do is please like and subscribe. Boxing Bros. Peace.
So the next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is comparing the resumes of what we would consider the top three heavyweights. Well, maybe not. Deontay Wilder's debatable for some, but his popularity is certainly would make him top three. So they have this is Give Me Sport article, and they're saying Joshua Fury Wilder comparing their last 10 fights. So now, when you go to their last 10 fights, which you can see on this picture, for Deontay Wilder, his last 10 fights were Johan Duhaupan, Arthur Spilka, Chris Arreola, Gerald Washington, Bermain Stavern, Luis Ortiz, Tyson Fury, Dominique Brazil, Luis Ortiz, and Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's last 10 fights were Joey Abel, Derek Chisora, Christian Hammer, Vladimir Klitschko, Sefer Seferi, Francisco Pina, Deontay Wilder, Tom Schwartz, Otto Wallin, and Deontay Wilder. And Anthony Joshua's last 10 fights were Charles Martin, Dominique Brazil, Eric Molina, Vladimir Klitschko, Carlos Takam, Joseph Parker, Alexander Povetkin, Andy Ruiz Jr., and Kabret Pulev. So now I'm asking you to rate who has the best resume from first to last in their last 10 fights. I'm going to go to Ned the TBE on this one. From first to last. Who
From
you
first
got?
to last. All right. Can I go from last to first?
Yes, go to last.
All right. Last place is that man right there, the bronze bomber for third. He wears bronze for a reason. He's the bomb squad for a reason. And as you can see from the last 10 fights, his only notable fights I would give him was the Tyson Fury 1 and 2 and Luis Ortiz 1. And after that, the rest of those fights were all tuna cans. So he's number 3. Tyson Fury, I got to give him number 2. He fought Klitschko, which is solid. Wilder, I'll give him Wilder 1 and 2. Derek Chisora.
Oh, I'll bring it back up for you.
Yeah, Derek Chisora, and I'm not really too familiar with the. I like the Otto Wallin fight, but I'm not too familiar with the rest of the fighters on here. Tom Schwartz, that was a wash. So right there, that's not a lot. When you look at AJ's last 10, he fought Pulev his last fight. He fought Ruiz. Ruiz 2. He got the get back in the rematch. Ruiz winning. So we saw what that was. Povetkin was we saw what he did to Dillian. Joseph Parker, Carlos Takam, Vladimir Klitschko again, Eric Molina, Dominique Brazil. Honestly, between him and Fury, those are 2 ties because I say one of those fights AJ did lose. So it's a toss-up, but then I just AJ from those fighters, none of these guys only fought. For me, Fury, the notable fights honestly on there is only Wilder and Klitschko and Chisora. That's 3, but you got Ruiz, Pulev, Povetkin, Joseph Parker, Klitschko again, and then Carlos Takam. That was a good fight, and shoot, that's why I gotta give AJ on first place. So it goes Wilder last, Fury second, AJ first.
All right, Dollar Bill. The eyes are low, but the eyes know.
You already
Trill, I
know.
need to see your eyes. I need to see your eyes, Trill.
Can you see them?
I can see you. I can see you. All right. Who you got from last to first on the resume list?
All right. This is about to get crazy.
Okay.
This is about
get ready, Trill. You didn't know Trill watch hockey.
Yeah. Crazy. All right, y'all ready?
Let's go.
Break this down for y'all.
Let's get it.
Complex. Here you go. Shout out to my man Complex. This is gonna be AJ number 1, Tyson number 2, and Wilder number 3.
Can't elaborate anyway.
Need I say more?
Hey, you know what? Trill has spoken. Conspiracy. The people want to know, man, how are you gonna rate this from last to first? Who the last 10 fights? Whose resume is better?
I think Trill and Ned are both bugging. Nah, I'm playing. Nah, I'm not even gonna be stupid, man. Nah, clearly it's the same order. Wilder number 3, Tyson number 2, AJ number 1. Here's why. I will differ a little bit to Ned though. I give Wilder, Fury, and Ortiz, right? Whether it's 1 or 2, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm the caliber of the fighter. I'm giving him credit for those 2. For Fury, I'm giving him only 2 fighters as well, Klitschko and Deontay Wilder. Obviously, Klitschko had, a 10-year reign. Wilder was WBC champ for like 5 years, and he was the first one to dethrone Klitschko. So, that's major. So that's number 2. Now, number 1, I'm giving AJ Klitschko, Povetkin, Ruiz, and Parker in that order. And those are the only ones that I feel like, when I'm thinking about like dudes that could actually become champions, those are the 4 that's on AJ's list. So clearly AJ has the more gained fighters. They're more difficult. They're craftier than what Wilder obviously has on his resume, and even Tyson Fury. So definitely AJ's number 1 on that list. And it's I don't see any of us actually disagreeing on this one, to be honest.
Watch your mouth, G. Don't
Yeah,
speak for me, G.
I want you to surprise me. You know how they are. They like the fans be like, "Yo, if G agrees, man, there's something wrong." So I don't know. Hey, you know what I mean?
Yes, because you have put yourself in a position that when people actually agree with you on something, they start to question themselves, G.
Listen, that just means your inner thoughts are like, damn, I agree. But
that just means that you walk alone for real. Nobody walks with you. You know what I'm saying? Like you walk alone. But let me dive into this real quick because there's a few things. Actually, before I even get into this, there's something I want to address. So, like here at Boxing Bros, we do our thing, we do our own thing, but we try to support people like from other channels where they show us love. We try to show them love. And so I was watching a live, and I actually heard someone say that Deontay Wilder's resume was comparable to Vladimir Klitschko's, and said, what has Klitschko done that's more impressive than Deontay Wilder? I actually wrote a response, but it got ignored to my surprise. Well, actually, I'm not surprised because people don't want to debate facts. Like they want to talk like nonsense, but they don't really want to debate facts. And so Klitschko is actually relevant to what I'm about to say. So I just want to point out a few things. Vladimir Klitschko's notable wins are Chris Bird, Samuel Peters, Lemon Brewster, Hakeem Rahman, David Haye, Alexander Povetkin, and Kubrat Pulev. But it's deeper than that. Klitschko beat Kubrat Pulev when he was 20-0. He beat Alexander Povetkin when he was 26-0. And he beat Samuel Peters when he was 24-0. So Vladimir Klitschko has these notable victories over other champions, meaning guys who actually won the title in the ring, guys who have accomplished great things in the ring, right? And so for people to sit there and act like Klitschko is some scrub and he's never done anything impressive in the ring is absolutely ridiculous, especially when you look at the fact that he beat Povetkin when Povetkin was undefeated. He beat Kubrat Pulev. He beat David Haye at a time when you can pull up the sparring sessions of David Haye spanking Deontay Wilder. So, like, please don't sit here and try to downplay Klitschko. Those are his notable wins, but let's talk about his notable defeats, because sometimes people overlook the fact that you can actually gain fans in a loss. You can actually gain respect in a loss. It's not that you take a loss. It's how you take the loss, right? Klitschko lost to Tyson Fury, but that wasn't no beatdown. That was one of the most boring fights that I've ever seen in my life. Like I said, you will never see that fight replayed anywhere on ESPN Classic or any type of classic. No one will ever replay that fight. Now, Tyson Fury won, and I scored the fight for Fury. I was then, and I am now, extremely happy for Tyson Fury that he won that fight. He deserved that fight, but it was a stinker. Come on now, don't make it seem like Klitschko was some bum that got outclassed. They both barely did anything. Tyson Fury nicked the rounds, did a little to win every single round. Now, in the Anthony Joshua fight, yes, Klitschko got stopped, but he got dropped, got up, dropped Joshua, fought his way back in the fight. Then he got stopped against a young lion. Okay, he lost to two guys that were up and coming. Joshua was undefeated at the time. Tyson Fury still undefeated. And oh, by the way, those two guys that happened to beat Vladimir Klitschko are now going to fight each other for undisputed. So don't make it look like he lost to some bums. So idiots running their mouth trying to compare Deontay Wilder to Vladimir Klitschko. He hasn't been in the ring with the level of competition. He doesn't have the notable wins. Like, for anyone to get online and try to make that statement, you should automatically just mute them. It's like, no, mute R. Kelly. No, mute the dummy. That's what should happen. So anyways, now that I addressed that ridiculousness, let's go to the resumes. And here's what I will say. The victory over Vladimir Klitschko is what really helps Tyson Fury for all the reasons I just stated, because Vladimir Klitschko was dominating the division for 10 years, and he's the one who knocked him off the throne. But if you remove the Vladimir Klitschko win, these victories from Tyson Fury are not that impressive. He beat Derek Chisora, and then he beat Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's the American hype job. I've already said it. Deontay Wilder's Michael Grant with better matchmaking. Because, they eventually threw Michael Grant to Lennox Lewis. They made sure they kept Deontay Wilder away from the big threats. But when you remove Vladimir Klitschko from Tyson Fury's resume, it's not that impressive. And anyone arguing that it is that impressive, you're lying to yourself, because he fought Sefer Seferi's after taking 2.5 years off. Then he fought Francesco Pina, and they were within like 6 months of each other. Then he fought Deontay Wilder because he knew Deontay Wilder was going to be an easy touch. He drawed with Deontay Wilder. Then he fought Shorts and Varleen to stay active before the rematch with Deontay Wilder. So if you look at Tyson Fury's after Vladimir Klitschko, if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4 of his fights were just stay busy fights. So of course, 4 of his last 6 fights weren't going to be that impressive. Whereas if you look at Deontay Wilder, I would actually say some of his fights were better opposition because they had to be. Where he fought Luis Ortiz before he fought Tyson Fury, then he fought Dominic Brazil, then he fought Luis Ortiz again. He had to solidify himself as being credible. So he had to take the risk of fighting greater fighters let's just say greater fighters, but better opposition. So are you going to argue that Dominic Brazil is better than Tom Schwartz? If they had a fight today, I think Dominic Brazil would beat Tom Schwartz, right? Otto Varleen versus Luis Ortiz, that's a pick'em fight to me. I don't know who's going to win that fight, but I don't know. That's a pick'em fight at this particular point in time. But I think at the time Wilder beat Luis Ortiz the first time, that Luis Ortiz would beat Otto Varleen. This new Luis Ortiz that's having people fix fights, I don't know. So with that being said, for me, the reason why Deontay Wilder is going to be last is because I believe that Tyson Fury has the best victory out of all of them, and that was his victory over Vladimir Klitschko when he was 10-year reigning champ. But then that's just one victory. So I put Wilder last because none of his victories are as good as the Klitschko victory. I put Tyson Fury at number 2 because although he did beat Klitschko, so did Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua has beaten other fighters in the top 10 that he's never stepped in the ring with. So for that reason, I have Wilder 3, Fury 2, and Anthony Joshua 1. So Wilder 3, Fury 2, Anthony Joshua 1 for the reasons I just stated.
Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe and check us out on Instagram and Twitter. Also, please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros. I can't believe they dissed Klitschko like that. For real.
Bro, it was terrible, bro. It was terrible.
Wow. I always put Klitschko up there with Larry Holmes. You know what I mean? Shout out to Klitschko.
100.